Hi everyone, hope you all are good. We are here for grade 7 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 7 math and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter percents. The lessons we're going to cover today are what percentage is illustrated, convert between percents, fractions, and decimals, compare percents to fractions and decimals, and estimate percents to percents of numbers. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Here I am on grade 7 math. Chapter we're on right now is percents. Let's just start with the lesson. What percentage is illustrated? What percentage of the shape is yellow? So just look at the shape. The complete shape is yellow, right? So that means the 100% of the shape is yellow because all the shape is yellow. So that means 100% of the shape is yellow. First means the part of 100. So 100% part is yellow. Let's just start with the test questions. What percentage of the shape is purple? So which is the correct option? 22% of the shape is 22 percentage. It is option number one is the correct 22%. Option number one is the correct option. What percentage of the shape is pink? That is 60% because 6 out of 10 is colored, so that means 60% of the shape is pink. Option number one is the correct option. What percentage of the shape is purple? That is 12%. Option number two is the correct option. 12% of the shape is purple. Option number two is the correct option. What percent of the shape is blue? 20% of the shape is blue. The correct option is 20%. 20% of the shape is blue. Option number one is the correct option. That is 20%. What percentage of the shape is pink? So, which is the correct option? 73% of the shape is pink. The correct option is 73%. 73% of the shape is pink. Option number two is the correct option. That is 73%. Option number two is the correct option. What percentage of shape is purple? That is 40% of the shape is purple. The correct option is 40%. What percent of the shape is pink? That is 90%. Option number two is the correct option. 90% of the shape is pink. The correct option is 90%. Option number two is the correct option. What percent of the shape is red? That is 79%. 79% of the shape is red. Option number one is the correct option. That is 79%. What percentage of the shape is green? So, which is the correct option? That is 27%. Option number two is the correct option. 27% of the shape is green. What percentage of the shape is yellow? Which is the correct option? That is 11%. Option number one is the correct option. Of 11% of the shape is yellow. What percent of the shape is green? Which is the correct option? That is 33% of the shape is green. Option number two is the correct option. That is 33%. What percent of the shape is green? Which is the correct option? That is 51%. No, sorry, 41% of the shape is green. The correct option is That is 41%. Option number one is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is convert between percents, fractions, and decimals. How do you write 72% as a fraction in simplest form? So you need to write down 72% as a fraction in simplest form. So you 72% means 72 out of 100. So just write it down 72 out of 100 and divide them by the common number. So that can be divided by 4. 18 times 4 is 72 and 25 times 4 is 100. So that is 18 over 100. The correct option is 18 over 100, 18 over 25. Let's just start with the test questions. How do you write 0.54 as a percentage? So 0.54, just remove the decimal point. So add 1 for the decimal point and two zeros for the two digits. So you can write it as 54%. Option number 2 is the correct option. You can write it as 54%. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 54%. How do you write 1 by 2 as a percentage form? So 1 by 2, let's just make the denominator equal to 100, right? So 2 times 50 is 100. So you have 1 times 50, that is 50 over 100. That equals 50%. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 50%. The correct option is option number two, that is 50%. How do you write 10% as a decimal? So 10% means that is 10 divided by 100, right? And 10 divided by 100 equals 0.1. Option number one is the correct option. How do you write 72% as a fraction in simplest form? 72% as a fraction in simplest form. So 72 over 100. So that is 18 over 25. Option number one is the correct option. Option number one is the correct option. That is 18 over 25. How do you write 0.16 as a percentage? So 0.16 as a percentage equals 16%. How do you write 94% as a decimal? 94% as a decimal is 0.94. Option number one is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is compare percents to fractions and decimals. Which sign makes the statement true 38% or 19 over 50? 38% means just convert it into, you can compare two things until they're in the same form. So you need to convert them into fractional percentage form. 38% is already in the percentage form. So 19 over 50, you need to divide, convert it into percentage form. So 19 over 50 times 100 equals 38%. So both of them are exactly equal. So the correct option is they are equal. Let's start with the test questions. Which sign makes the statement true? 98% and 95%. So, which is the correct option? - 98% is greater than 95% greater it is. Which sign makes the statement true? 73 over 100. 73 over 100 and 73%. Just convert both of them in the percentage form. So 73 over 100 is 73%. So both sides are exactly equal. Option number 3 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? 79% and 0.3. So 79% and 0.3. So 0 converted into percentage form. 0.3 times 100 is 30%. So 79% and 30%. So 79% is greater than 30%. The correct option is greater. Which sign makes the statement true? 88%, 88% and 0.88. So when you convert 0.88 in percentage form, both sides are exactly equal. Which sign makes the statement true? That is 87% is less than 99%. Which sign makes the statement true? 22% and 27%. 22% is less than 27%. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which sign makes the statement true? 80% and 0.8. When you convert 0.8 into percentage form, that is also 80%. So they both sides are exactly equal. Both sides are exactly equal. Hmm? Which sign makes the statement true? 19% and 0.5. So both sides are exactly 19% and 0.5 is 50%. So 19% is less than 15%. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself here today. Let me just move on to next lesson. That is estimate persons of numbers. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 25% of 59? So basically, you have to estimate 25% of 59. So 25% means one fourth. So you need to estimate one fourth of 59. You can estimate 59 to 60. So basically, you need to convert 1/4 of 60. So 1/4 of 60 equals 15. So the correct option is 15. Let's just start with the test questions. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 35% of 62? So 35% is, that is 1/3 of 63. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 32% of 20? So 32% means that is 1/3. So 1/3 of 21. 20 is estimated to 21, so that is 1/3 of 21. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 1/3 of 21. Which is the most accurate way of to estimate 73% of 77? That is 3/4 of 78. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 3/4 of 78. Oh, that is 3/4 of 76. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 25% of 59? That is one fourth of 60. Option number 3 is the correct option. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 24% of 81? That is one fourth of 80%. Option number 1 is the 1 by 4 of 80. Which is the most accurate way to estimate 75% of 31, 71? That is 3 by 4% of 72. Option number 1 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on grade 7 math. The chapter we were working on is persons. The lessons we have covered today are what percentage is illustrated, convert between persons, fractions, and decimals, compare persons to fractions and decimals, estimate persons of numbers. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. You can complete all the you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you. Or either you can write down the question in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So you can please ask questions for which you need help. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any. So, any questions? Mm. No questions?